Alright, ladies and gentlemen, with what you're about to see right here, and, with what it is that I have to do in this video, I am beyond uncomfortable right now. So, for those of you guys that don't know what's going on, allow me to fill you guys in with a little bit of context as to what the situation is that I am referring to. Now, actually, before I do that, I would like to give you guys a very, very important disclaimer here in this video, and that is, please, whatever you do, do not subscribe to me for videos like this, as these sort of videos are things that I do not like making, and this right here, you can tell that these aren't the kind of videos that I am passionate about making. If you were to take a look at any other video on this channel, pretty much any other video, you would see that that is exactly the case. That normally I play a character, Mega Crasher, that, he does all these crazy things, but there was nothing crazy about this video in an entertaining way. In fact, it is on the other side of the spectrum. Now, actually, ladies and gentlemen, before I go any further, and I apologize if it seems like I'm stalling out, it's something I really, really don't want to do, but I'm going to get this out of the way too, because this is truly, I'm at a loss for words as to how I can explain how I'm feeling about this right now, but I'm truly sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I am truly sorry, that I have to make a video like this. I know I said at the end of last year, I made a promise, I made a pact to you guys to say that I would never ever speak on this certain topic ever again, but ever since as to what happened last May, which involved this individual in acts of bullying and intimidation, as well as forms of bigotry, that has pretty much since been pushed to the side. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that while I made the promise to say that I would never ever make a video to directly talk about this certain subject matter, I did not make a promise to say that I was going to remain silent whenever there was any situation that involved me either standing up for myself or standing up for another individual. Okay. I have stalled for the sake of my sanity long enough, so let's get into the main point of the video. So, ladies and gentlemen, this video is about, you guessed it, Verlisify, aka the resident fire starter, as Felicia Fan candidly put it once, of the Pokemon community. Now, I would also just like to say for the record that if this didn't have anything to do with the Pokemon community, I probably would end up keeping mum about it, but I would still share the same sort of sentiment here in this given situation, which is the situation that involves what happened in Charlottesville just recently. Now, I would also like to say that my heart, thoughts, and prayers go out to all those who have been horrifically affected in that situation. I've seen the video clips, I've heard it, being talked about, and I just gotta say, when I seen video footage of what took place there, I was absolutely horrified. And I just gotta say that Duncan Knee Deep's video really opened up my eyes, and it opened up my eyes so wide, I had a 360 clear vision around me as to what was going on. Now, if I can actually be afforded to, I'm actually going to show you a very small portion of Duncan's video that he made on this particular subject.
I believe this until this weekend, where Verlisify decided to jump on Twitter in defense of Nazis and white supremacists in the wake of the Charlottesville, well, let's call them protests for now. During these protests, people were carrying Nazi flags, they were carrying white supremacist banners and logos, throwing out Sieg Heils and Nazi salutes, and of course your typical rednecks decked out in full camo gear with assault rifles on open carry, attempting to claim that dressing like that was not threatening in any way. Verlisify began by defending this rally as completely non-violent, saying that only leftist rallies are violent because, and I quote, they are intolerant of anyone to the right of them and respond with violence. Interestingly, this was an incredibly violent rally, which involved the beating of many people, the hospitalization of a black student after he was beaten with poles, and a Dodge Charger driving deliberately into a group of people, killing a person.
So, man, I can't even think straight after, having to re-show and, pretty much relive what we just seen right there. And it was something that is still uncomfortable, just even having to rewatch it, but first off, we're going to be talking about the tweets that we shown in that small snippet of Duncan's video. So, we're going to be talking about the tweets here real quick. Now, I'm not going to be breaking down each and every single tweet that there is, because not only is there a whole bunch, but you know, they all are very similar and can be lumped into one big description, and that is the fact that Verlisify was more or less defending Nazis and white supremacists. And I don't know about y'all, but those are two of the worst kinds of people that could ever exist here on this planet. Because they're extremists, and extremists do very terrible things, you know? Like, it doesn't matter what the cause is. If you are going out of your way to cause bodily harm or harm in any way, shape, and form to a person, people, group, etc., and you have no legitimate reason behind this, and there is no sort of peaceful resolution that can be taken, that tops the line. Like, there is no excuse for that. Now, there's actually one tweet in particular that really stood out in the portion of Duncan's video that he had highlighted from Verlisify, and it reads, and I quote, "Sad how a lot of members of the Pokemon community find ways to be more bigoted than actual Nazis." Wow. I can honestly say that there is so much wrong with that tweet right there, as is with every single other tweet in this situation from Verlisify, but this tweet really stood out in my eyes, and the first thing that really stood out was the irony of this tweet. You want to talk about bigotry in the Pokemon community, how you want to make accusations to say that there are community members in Pokemon more bigoted than Nazis themselves, when you yourself are quite possibly the biggest bigot in the history in the Pokemon community, because who in the right mind is pro-Nazi and has these sick ideologies that, you know, you're spreading to young impressionable minds? And believe me, you got hundreds of thousands of people that are willingly listening to the kind of shit that you're shoveling down their throats, and anyone else that disagrees with you are either too scared to speak up because they'll get banned, or they got no voice in your community because you've already banned them, and you've even showed that shit yourself. So the second part of the tweet here, you know, we're gonna be talking about Nazis. You really want to go there. You really want to make an extreme comparison. You want to go from comparing members of the Pokemon community, aka a community that is centralized around a kid's game, and you want to bring Nazis into it, and you want to make those comparisons, right? Well, allow me to refresh you guys as to what Nazis really are. So the second part of the tweet that really stood out was the word Nazis. Now, if you guys remembered way back when you guys learned about, you know, history, World War II and all that stuff, you would remember that Nazis, who was governed by Adolf Hitler, were responsible for the deaths of millions of people, children included. Now, we go and we make this disgusting comparison into the Pokemon community. So you really want to compare the Pokemon community to Nazis? You really want to go there? Like, when has anyone in the Pokemon community ever done anything that was remotely as disgusting as what Nazis did? I mean, seriously, throw me a bone here. Now, I would also like to preface this that, you know, what happened back in World War II versus what happens now in the new day, in the new age. Here's the thing, is that everybody has a right to live. Everyone has a right to exercise their freedoms and their religion. And the way I see it is, as long as you're not hurting anybody, then there is absolutely no problem. But with the way that you go about it, Verlisify, you are so much of an extremist that it is beyond cancerous here in the Pokemon community. I mean, there's been so many people, myself included, that say that you are a problem in the Pokemon community. Well, we go from saying that you're just a problem in the community to saying that it's bigger than that. It is so much bigger than that. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is honestly something that, if you guys look up to Verlisify in any way, shape, and form, I beg you, you really need to rethink who you look up to. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you look up to who you look up to, okay? I can't hold your hand. I can't say, oh no, don't do this. Oh no, don't do that. All I'm saying is my piece. It is up to you guys as to what you guys think about the situation given at the end of the day. But I beg you guys, please heavily consider, because the way I see it is that this kind of attitude, this kind of behavior, this kind of situation, man, that is taking place in the community, it is beyond, like, it's beyond description. That's literally the best way I can put it. It is beyond description. And something that also is pretty terrible by itself is the amount of influence and power that you have here with your words. And the thing is that, you know, when it comes to Pokemon, you know, it's generally centralized around children. So a lot of children are going to watch your content, and they are going to, you know, they're going to follow you. They're going to follow you either on YouTube or on Twitter, what have you, any form of social media, just so that they can learn more about you, you know? That's what social media is for. And when they follow you on Twitter and they see, you know, rows upon rows upon rows of, you know, the amount of bigotry that you're spewing out, and they have young, impressionable minds, and when they see that there is little to no consequence being administered on your end, it seems to me that, you know, they're going to think that's completely okay. And then they're going to carry out that attitude, you know, in school. They're going to be speaking the same way that you're speaking, and they're not going to be aware. They're not going to have that self-awareness that, hey, you know, maybe that kind of attitude, maybe that kind of mindset is actually, I don't know, unhealthy, aka wrong. I mean, it's never a good thing to promote the sort of thing that involves violence, that involves extremism. I mean, hell, we've seen a very nightmarish glimpse of that with what took place in Charlottesville just the other day. Like, you gotta be joking me. You seriously cannot be in the right mind to actually be an advocate for the kind of people that pulled that kind of shit. You seriously can't. Like, come on. Like, seriously, this has to be a joke. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know what else I can say at this point. I mean, honestly, the whole situation, it really speaks for itself, you know? And it really just gets to a point. It's like, when is too much too much? I mean, the way I see it is that, like, you know, I don't ever wish for anything bad to happen on anyone. I don't have the heart for it or the stomach for it, okay? But what I wish for is, when people make mistakes, you know, they own up to it. They pay the consequence, and they learn. They become a better person as a result. But given the fact that Verlisify hides behind his fan base and his numbers, and he does every trick in the book to try and get out of being held accountable for every single mistake that he has made, it seems to me that, you know, it's gone to this point where it's so far gone that it's like, is anything going to work here in this situation? I mean, seriously, it's like, this is honestly just beyond disgusting. I mean, back in 2011, 2012, you know, when I was the first part of the Pokemon community, we didn't have drama like that, you know? I mean, the most I can think of was, you know, back in like 2011, 2012, you know, when there was a problem with, and I'm not going to name any names, but, you know, when a YouTuber ended up leaking another YouTuber's team that he didn't want to have leaked until the series was all done, you know, he made a big video about that, and people made a response video, but it literally died there. But it seems to me with you, you grasp at any given opportunity to cash in on drama. And you know what? I can honestly say that controversy creates cash. I mean, as Eric Bischoff candidly put it back when he was working in WWE. Controversy creates cash, and it seems like that you're genius enough to try and take advantage of that. But how much is it really worth it to make that extra bit of cash, to make them extra bit of figures? You know, is it really worth sacrificing, you know, your reputation, your brand? I mean, here's the thing. Your brand is already smeared enough as it is. And, you know, you wonder why no one wants to work with you. Well, case in point right there. If you guys have had any doubts before, you know, even during the time when him and I had that tussle recently back in May, when he went out of his way to target me for having autism. Yes, for those of you guys that don't know, I was born with a disability, something that I can't help, you know, like, it would have been nice to not be born with any disabilities, but guess what? you know, life doesn't always get what you want. You know, you get what you get and you deal with it. And me being 26, I feel like I've dealt with it just fine. I've overcome every single obstacle that there is to overcome. And at the end of the day, I became a much better person as a result of what I have learned, not just from my family and those around me and every other single opportunity that I've had a chance to learn, but I've become a much better person as a result of every single person here in our community that you guys have become a new life for me, okay? And I know that you guys are so uncomfortable when it comes to the fact that I gotta make videos on this individual. I can't even call him a human at this point. An individual, a being, you know. The way I see it is that I literally, I don't know what I can say else at this point. I mean, I feel like I've said all I've needed to say, you know? The way I see it, though, is that if you thought that you had any doubts before, you know, even when he went out of his way to try and target me over and over again, not to mention also targeting other people by making reference to mental disabilities and trying to attack them with it. If you thought you had any doubts before seeing this, I really hope that you do not have any doubts now and that you strongly reconsider. Alright guys, so that's pretty much all I have to say here in this video. I apologize for it being longer than I had intended. I wanted this to be as brief and as to the point. And I did the best I could, so my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I know this isn't the kind of stuff that you're subscribed for, and it pains me to make a video like this. It literally feels like someone drove a rusty-ass knife into my heart. Like, it breaks my heart to make a video like this, because I know that it may, in fact, upset some of you guys, but I beg you guys, please understand where I'm coming from, and that this was something that I did not want to do. I was fighting off every single urge that there was and more to not make a video on this and to just keep mum about it, but enough was enough, okay? Like, this was beyond uncomfortable, and, you know, brought back just a lot of, it just really brought on a lot of horrifying thoughts, and I'm like, you know what? It's not healthy to keep this shit bottled up, man. It is not healthy, so I hope you guys understand. Please, forgive me, okay? And I hope that this is the last time that I have to speak on this topic, on this individual, but I will make a note on this and say that if this, in any way, shape, or form, if he wants to come after me and try to once again tangle with us, well, I'm just going to let you know I'm not going to keep silent about it, okay? Because while I made the promise to say that I will not make a video directly talking about this individual, keep in mind, I did not make a promise to say that I will not stand up for myself. You know, to say that, like, if anything happens, that, oh, I gotta keep silent about it. No one has to keep silent about anything. If you feel bullied, if you feel threatened, talk to someone, okay? That's why I'm here, okay? That's why I make videos, you know, whether I'm in character or not. That's why I make videos, so that you guys can open up. You guys can learn more about me. I can learn more about you. And, you know, that's how we become a very close, tight-knit community as big as we are. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys mean the entire world to me. You guys are my life. So thank you guys very much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. I swear to God, I'm going to make a kick-ass video for you guys in my Mega Crasher character. So stay tuned for that. God bless, and God love you guys.